this printer ran out of filament. I forgot to put a new roll on before I went to bed, and so it's been sitting here probably since 4 in the morning. So the printhead, of course, goes over here, sits here. The bed is still warm, so it's keeping the bed heated up. The printhead, I believe, is cool. The printhead is cool. So when you're coming to this situation, it has on the screen here, press the knob to preheat the nozzle and continue. So I'm going to do that. And you can see it's starting up it's actually starting from 0. Now, one thing that you need to pay attention to, and I didn't actually do it on this one, but at the end of a roll, depending on the maker, they fasten them to the rolls in different ways. For these rolls, it's right here. So it's bent and pushed in there, and then it's wound around. So depending on that bend, sometimes they're long, sometimes they're short, and depending on the length of that, and I've had this happen probably 3 times, when it goes down inside, if it's bent a certain way, once this gets heated up and you press the knob to have it eject, it'll get stuck in there. And I've had it happen 3 times where I had to take stuff apart to get the filament out, and then I had a few other times where I could just tell it that it did unload even though it didn't, and then I will put the new filament in on top of it and just kind of push it down in there, maybe making sure it's going down. And if it's not bent too much, you'll hit it end to end. But if it's bent too much, you'll be going to the side of it, and then you won't be able to push it down in there. There's nothing that's pushing that other filament in. It seems possibly that there's a better chance of that happening if you let this cool down, which is what I did here. So I'm hoping this comes out, because I am in the middle of a print job here. And let's see what, oh, it's done. So press knob to unload the filament. There it goes, comes out. And you can see, well, let me get the new filament in. So the new filament, you just take it off your roll, and you just shove it down in. First, it's asking you, did it unload successfully? So you answer yes to that. Then you insert it. It says insert filament. You insert it. And it'll start coming out on the bottom. So you'll see it came out on the bottom here. And if it didn't come out, then you'd have to hit on the screen. It says filament not loaded, color not correct. I'm not sure what the difference is between both of them. If you do either one of them, it just puts another length of filament down into there. Once it's out, you'll see, of course, there's a little bit that keeps coming out of the nozzle. I just use my finger. If you run across it quickly, you're not going to burn yourself. It might be a little bit hot, but just suck it up. I see people that go in with the needle nose pliers and stuff, and I just think you have a chance of squeezing the end of the nozzle and maybe disfiguring it. So then once that's done, on the screen here it says yes, so you hit yes for that, saying that the filament loaded. So I'm going to do that, and then it's going to immediately start going. So once that starts going, before it starts going, I put my finger underneath it, yes, and then I let the printer head move by itself, and I wipe it off, and then I let it go. Now ideally, if you're going to be around when the filament's going to run out, I always make sure that when it's going to run out, or if I'm going to change it, it's in the middle of the filler or something like that, and not on the edge or on a finished surface, because there will be a mar and there could be a little gap, and I don't know why it doesn't start. It doesn't seem to start exactly where it left off, and it'll have a little hole there. It may not, for our purposes, it would be aesthetic and you can see it. For other situations, it may not matter. But I would wait till it's doing something like this, and then I would pause the machine, pause the job, and unload the filament. And the print head actually goes back to the back left corner, and then I'll eject that, and I'll load the new filament. Before I put the new filament in, I'll put a piece of paper or a notebook underneath it to catch the dribble as it comes out, so that it doesn't stick to the print, depending on what the print is, as it will be hot when it comes out. And once it's loaded, then again you hit yes that it was loaded, and then you have to tell it to resume the job. It won't automatically start it, so you need to tell it to resume the job, and it will then have to heat up the bed, because I think when you pause the job, the bed starts to cool down. And once it starts moving, which might take 3 or 4 seconds, it's not very long, you can do the same thing and grab your finger underneath the nozzle to get that, to wipe that booger off of there, and then that's it. So I'm going to do another demonstration of hot swapping it. So if there's a situation where you can't or don't want to wait for it to end completely, and or do it manually, stopping it and taking it out, you can actually just push the filament down in there, right behind the filament as it's going down into the feeder. Here's the end of the filament that was going down into the feeder, and it has a tiny bend in it, and it kind of straightened out. So I don't know, I never really saw one go in and why it would jam. But what I'll do is, if I get to the end of a roll and and I see that it's going to end, I'll just take the needle and those pliers, go into where that hole is, pull that out, and just snip this little thing off. Just be proactive and cut that off.